The billionaire's deaf daughter never heard a thing, until a single Dad X seal pulled out something. The first time I saw Lily Carter, she was standing in the middle of a ballroom surrounded by hundreds of people, and completely alone. Crystal chandeliers glittered above us. Expensive music filled the room. Waiters carried champagne through the crowd. Everyone was talking, laughing, and celebrating. But Lily heard none of it. She was 8 years old, wearing a beautiful lavender dress, with her blonde hair braided neatly over one shoulder. She stood beside her father, billionaire Daniel Carter, staring at the crowd with the cautious expression of a child who had learned that the world was full of sound she couldn't hear. Then something happened that changed everything. A glass shattered. Everyone turned. Lily didn't. She simply kept looking at the cake on the other side of the room. I was working security that night, and I noticed something else. A man near the back exit had stopped smiling. He wasn't watching the broken glass. He was watching Lily. My instincts immediately kicked in. I had spent 8 years as a Navy SEAL before leaving the service after a mission that nearly killed my entire team. Now I was a single father raising my 7-year-old son, Noah, and working private security jobs. I knew what danger looked like. And that man looked dangerous. I moved closer to Lily. Her father noticed me. "Is something wrong?" Daniel asked. I didn't answer immediately. I watched the stranger slip his hand inside his jacket. Then I saw the flash of metal. "Get your daughter behind you." Daniel's expression changed. "What? Now?" I grabbed Lily's hand and moved. The man pulled out a device. It wasn't a gun. It was a small electronic transmitter. He pressed a button. Nothing happened. At least, nothing anyone else could see. But Lily suddenly grabbed her ears. Her face changed. For the first time in her life, she was reacting to a sound. She looked terrified. Daniel dropped to his knees beside her. "Lily?" She stared at him. Then she whispered something. Everyone froze. Because Lily had never spoken before. "I hear." Her voice trembled. "I hear something." Daniel looked at me. I looked at the device in the stranger's hand. I understood immediately. It wasn't a weapon. It was an experimental bone conduction device. And someone had deliberately brought it into the ballroom. I chased the man toward the exit. He ran fast. But I had spent years chasing people who didn't want to be caught. I caught him before he reached the parking garage. He fought hard. I took him down without seriously hurting him and pulled the device from his hand. When I returned to the ballroom, Lily was sitting beside her father. Her eyes were filled with tears. "Where did you go?" she asked me. That single sentence silenced the entire room. Daniel stared at her as if he'd just witnessed a miracle. "You heard him," he whispered. Lily nodded. "His footsteps." I crouched beside her. "Did the device hurt?" She shook her head. It was strange. Then she looked at me. "Can you make it do that again?" I glanced at Daniel. He looked completely overwhelmed. For years, his daughter had been taken from specialist to specialist. Doctors had tried surgeries, hearing aids, therapy, experimental treatments. Nothing worked. But the device I'd taken from that man had triggered something. The next morning, Daniel came to my house. I was making pancakes for Noah. Daniel stood at the door wearing a suit worth more than my car. "I need your help." I looked at him. "With what?" "My daughter." Behind him stood Lily. She smiled when she saw me. "Hi, Dad." Noah ran into the room. "Is she the girl from the party?" Lily nodded. Noah pointed at the pancake. "Want one?" She smiled. "Yes." Daniel almost cried. That morning changed our lives. I helped Daniel locate the technology's creator. Her name was Dr. Evelyn Grant, a brilliant engineer who had disappeared from the public eye years earlier. We found her living alone in a small town. When she saw the device, she became pale. "Where did you get this?" Daniel explained. Evelyn looked at Lily. "That device wasn't designed to cure deafness." Daniel frowned. "Then what does it do?" "It bypasses the damaged parts of the ear and sends sound directly through the bones." She paused. But it was never finished. "Why?" Evelyn looked at me. "Because someone stole the prototype." My stomach tightened. "Who?" She gave us a name. Daniel's former business partner. Victor Hale. Victor had once been Daniel's closest friend. He had also lost millions when Daniel fired him for stealing company money. Now Victor had been trying to destroy Daniel's reputation for years. But there was something worse. Victor hadn't wanted Lily to hear. He wanted her to hear one specific thing. A recording. We found it hidden inside the device. When Daniel played it through the prototype, Lily's face went white. A man's voice filled the room. "Daniel, if you're hearing this, you already know what I want." Then Victor's voice continued. "You destroyed my life. Now I'm going to destroy yours." Daniel clenched his fists. But Lily suddenly interrupted. "Stop." Everyone looked at her. She pointed toward the device. "There is another voice." I replayed the recording. "Nothing." Lily shook her head. "No." "Behind him." I adjusted the frequency. Suddenly another voice became audible. A woman. Whispering. "Daniel didn't do it." Daniel froze. The woman continued. "Victor is lying." Daniel's face went pale. He recognized the voice. His former financial director. She had disappeared 3 years earlier after supposedly stealing millions from his company. But she had never stolen anything. Victor had framed her. And now Lily had uncovered the truth. That discovery saved Daniel's company. But it also put Lily in danger. Victor knew the device was working. And he knew Lily had heard the recording. That night, someone broke into Daniel's mansion. I was already there. I heard the window break. I moved Lily and Noah into a secure room. Daniel grabbed a flashlight. "Where are you going?" I looked at him. "To end this." He shook his head. "You're not doing this alone." For the first time, I saw Daniel not as a billionaire. Not as Lily's powerful father. Just as a scared dad. So I nodded. We moved through the dark house together. The intruder was waiting upstairs. But he wasn't alone. Victor stood behind him. He smiled. "You should have left this alone." I stepped forward. "You came after a child." Victor laughed. "That child destroyed everything." Lily suddenly appeared at the end of the hallway. Daniel turned. "Lily, get back." But she didn't move. She was wearing the prototype. And she could hear. She looked directly at Victor. "You lied." Victor froze. Lily continued. "You said my dad stole the money." Victor's face changed. "You weren't supposed to hear that." I stepped between them. Victor pulled a weapon. Everything happened in seconds. I disarmed him and forced him to the floor. Daniel rushed to Lily. He hugged her tightly. For the first time, Lily hugged him back while tears streamed down her face. "Dad," she whispered. "Yes?" "I can hear you." Daniel closed his eyes. "I love you." Lily smiled through her tears. "I hear that too." Months later, Lily received a new hearing system developed from the prototype. It wasn't perfect. Some sounds were still difficult. Some days were frustrating. But every morning, she woke up excited to hear something new. Birds. Rain. Noah laughing. Her father's voice. And one afternoon, she came running into my house. "Dad!" Noah shouted. "I'm not your dad," I laughed. Lily giggled. "No. You're my friend." Then she looked at me. "And my hero." I shook my head. "I didn't do anything special." Lily smiled. "You listened when everyone else was too busy talking." That sentence stayed with me. Because she was right. Sometimes saving someone isn't about being stronger. Sometimes it isn't about money, power, or even technology. Sometimes it begins with simply noticing the person everyone else overlooked. Daniel eventually offered me a position running security for his company. I turned it down. I wanted to stay close to Noah. Instead, Daniel helped me start a security training business for veterans. Lily visited every summer. She and Noah became inseparable. And years later, when Lily stood on a stage and gave her first public speech about children with hearing disabilities, she looked into the audience and found me. She smiled. Then she said 4 words that made every sacrifice worth it. I finally heard hope. And I realized something. I had spent most of my life learning how to survive. But Lily taught me how to live.